Oh, heavy rains flooding parts of the Free State. We were out there yesterday with our team and you could see just the amount of water causing chaos in that part of the country. Families in Harrismith even displaced after their homes were flooded. There's also warnings of localized flooding in some areas of Limpopo and in Mpumalanga. In Joburg, those rains have subsided ever so slightly. A little bit cold though this morning. It hasn't exactly warmed up. But let's find out why we are where we are, what the expectation is. Forecaster from the SA Weather Service, Lehlohonolo Thobela, joining us this morning. Good to have you back on ENCA. Let's just start, if we could, just the two, I don't want to call them trouble provinces, but the two focus provinces of ours, Lehlohonolo, is the Free State and KZN. Let's go Free State. What's it looking like at the moment? It seems to have been very, very wet there the past few days.
Good morning and thanks for having me. Yes, for the past Monday, Tuesday, in fact, from the weekend that we're from, we've been experiencing much more of these storms and much more of the disruptive rain, especially over the central and the eastern parts of the country. And we were expecting it to subside by Wednesday, which is today into tomorrow. Then that's when we see just a 30% chance of showers and rain, mainly over the northeastern part, which would stretch over Mpumalanga into Limpopo. Nothing is happening over Free State, which is warmer conditions starting to pick up as temperatures start picking up for the week. Much more of the showers and rain are still expected to be over the northeastern parts today, with a warning that we have for severe thunderstorms that might result in some heavy downpours due to the storm moving slow over the northern areas, which would also include parts of Musina, spreading all over to the eastern parts of Limpopo. So for today, we're expecting much more of the scattered to isolated chance of showers and thunder showers to remain over the northeastern parts of the country, which then would include Mpumalanga and Limpopo, with that warning being there over those areas. The central and the western parts seems to be looking fine, with warmer temperatures starting to pick up, especially over the southwestern parts. So as we move to tomorrow, where you see very hot to hot conditions over the Western Cape province, spreading all over to the Northern Cape, and warmer conditions are then expected over the central parts. Just drizzle along the escarpments of Limpopo and Mpumalanga, with a 30% chance of showers and rain along the east coast, which would include the east coast of KwaZulu-Natal, spreading all over to the Eastern Cape province. And then if you move on to Friday, that's when we have isolated showers and thunder showers, mainly over the south, rather I'd say the central parts, moving over to the southwestern parts of the country, which would include the southern parts of the Free State province, the eastern parts of the Northern Cape, as well as Eastern Cape as a whole. The otherwise much more of the warm conditions are starting to pick up for the weekend. 30% chance of showers and rain is expected southern parts of Gauteng on Saturday, and then moving on to Sunday, it's just 30% throughout the weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad the weather is starting to get a bit warmer as well. I just want to just quickly touch on KZN. You said that rain is moving north. We've seen those severe thunderstorms out towards the Palabora, Skukuza areas up north as well. Just on KZN, just for those residents watching in that province, anything they should be concerned about, or are we starting to see the weather getting better for them?
Nothing is alarming for KwaZulu-Natal. However, the East Coast is still expected to have that chance of light rain, but it's only tomorrow. And today we're just having the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal, which just have a 30% chance of showers and rain. But it's mainly just light showers and rain as it progresses into the week. Friday, there's nothing, just warm temperatures as expected, with a 30% chance then mainly along the coastal areas for Thursday.
We also saw some snow, or reports of snow, around the Free State area as well. I was under the impression we're well into summer now, but this is why you're the expert. Is that fairly unusual? Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just an anomaly with that happening. You're right, but it's not that it never happens. It has happened, I think, in the past years, but it's not common for it to happen around this time of the year. But freezing levels really, really dropped. With the system that we had, we normally have such conditions where you'd have an upper air system that then drastically decrease all temperatures. And with the cold, we know then we expect ice. If it's not hail, it should be snow. But with what happened, the freezing levels also dropped quite significantly, especially along the high-lying grounds of the Drakensberg, spreading all over to areas over the eastern parts of the Free State.
Now as we start heading into November, today's the 1st of November, going into December as well, are we going to start seeing more of these changes in temperatures, these severe changes? We went from, I think with Johannesburg, 32 thereabouts last Thursday, Friday. Suddenly it was 6-7 degrees on Monday. Is that fairly normal considering the weather cycle we're in at the moment? Is that just our reality, and is that unusual? Because again, we forget what the weather was this time last year. It's why we talk to you. Can we see more drastic changes temperature-wise?
I think it's good that we've been having these interviews, and me and you would have the same questions in the past interviews, and I like that you brought back the same thing that we spoke about last time. I think the last time we spoke about El Nino, and with the past consecutive 3 years, we'd be having La Nina, which was just abnormal rainfall for areas. So then now we are in El Nino state of the atmosphere, which then brings about below normal rainfall, but it increases the extreme type of weather that we get. As you've mentioned that we've just received snow, we also had a number of hail reports in terms of the central and the eastern parts of the country. So with the El Nino happening is that we decrease the number of rainfall when it doesn't happen. I mean, it attests to having much more of the weeks that we've had in the past week where we had heat waves, it was hot. But with that being said, is that the thing about El Nino is that it produces extreme weather in terms of when we have weather, you would say it shows off, because then that's the extreme weather that we have. So it shows you that what it can do. So type of the El Nino, it brings much more of the extreme weather, especially because of the temperatures increasing in the seas in the eastern parts, especially over the Pacific Ocean. And with that happening, then it results in a lot of extreme weather as we've seen now.
All right, so there we go. That's why things are happening the way they're happening at the moment. I'm always very grateful when Lehlohonolo makes some time for us, Lehlohonolo Thobela from the SA Weather Service. And I always like to ask that because I always forget which way it goes, and I'm glad he clarified. So before this year, we had 3 years of La Nina, which means more rain. Now we're in El Nino, less rain, but more extreme weather when we do get it, which is why we've seen these jumps between 32 degrees and then plummeting down maybe a day or two later to what will be 7, 8 on Monday.
It's schizophrenic at the moment.
It is, yeah.
Like, any weather will do.
Yep, any weather will do.
Any weather, you take what you get on that particular day or for that particular week.